Hey everyone, and welcome back to 100 for Life. My name's Dan, and thanks for checking out our video. So, this video is going to cover day 4 and 5 of my pre-weight loss surgery diet. If you haven't seen our other videos for this week, I would go ahead and go back and check those out. You're going to find out exactly what's going on, what I've been eating, what I've been drinking in more detail, and why those are the things I'm eating and drinking. So check out what days 1, 2, and 3. I think you'll like those videos too. But today, we're covering days 4 and 5. I went ahead and put 2 days together because honestly, they're both pretty similar in how I felt. I'm actually feeling pretty energetic, feeling better, no caffeine headaches anymore. And this is what everyone told me. Everyone said that once you got past like day 2 or 3, that things kind of picked up for you and you felt better and you did better, and that you weren't quite as hungry, weren't quite feeling as bad, and all these things seem to, taper off some. I'm still hungry. I still, a couple times a day on day 4 and 5, got really hungry. But, I drank my protein shake and some water and moved on. And the moving on part is something that we've been learning how to handle because when I'm not as focused on food, if I'm bored, to keep myself from eating, I've been having to do more things, whether it's cleaning the house, working on videos, taking the dogs for extra walks, whatever. And it's really been good to start trying to build these habits of finding other things to do. And we've done this before through the battery of times. Jan and I have tried to lose weight and been on different diets, and you try to find something to fill the hole for the food. But this time it's been a little different because this time I know it's going to be for the rest of my life after I have weight loss surgery, gastric bypass, in case you're just tuning in. And one thing I want to talk about in this video, besides how good days 4 and 5 were for me, is why we chose gastric bypass. In day 3, we talked about what a gastric bypass was versus vertical sleeve gastrectomy in minor detail. Nothing too technical, nothing too medical, just kind of a general once-over. But I wanted to make sure I was clear on why I chose gastric bypass, why my doctor chose gastric bypass for me. Because right now, the most popular weight loss surgery in the United States, and I think the world, don't quote me on that, but I think the whole world, is the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. And I think the reason for that is it has a lower complication risk, and it's considered less invasive of a surgery, but there is a flip side. Oh, and it's cheaper, which is one thing. Especially if your insurance is covering it, or even if you're paying out of pocket. Price is always a consideration for either you or your insurance company, unfortunately. But the reason we chose gastric bypass, even though it has a slightly longer recovery time, it costs more for the insurance company, ultimately probably us, and it has a slightly higher chance of side effects, is it has a higher percentage of overall weight loss in people who have kept the weight off. Is a really big part of it. It's 5 or 10% more. If depending on what study you read, there's all kinds of information on the internet, and since it's on the internet, it's got to be true. So take it, the 5 or 10% with a grain of salt. But people who have gastric bypass lose 5 to 10% more in their first year, and tend to keep more of the weight off in the future. And I think a lot of it is because it's easier to go from a banana-sized stomach, what you have with the vertical sleeve, and stretch that back out than it is for having a stomach the size of an egg and stretching that back out. And also, and this is kind of debated, so if you want to leave a comment about your opinion on it, that's fine, or experiences you've had, great. But through a lot of research I've had and people I've talked to, is that there isn't much of a chance, there is no chance, or at least not much of a chance, of dumping syndrome with vertical sleeve. And that's where if you eat something that's too rich in sugar or you drink while you're eating, the food exits your pouch too quickly and you get very sick and that food's coming out. Not fully digested potentially, it just makes cold sweats and you might throw up, and it just sounds like a really, really, really nasty experience that I'm hoping that I don't have to have. But there's a lot less of a chance of that of vertical sleeve than there is with gastric bypass. So that's another negative thing about gastric bypass. But another huge deciding factor for us is gastric bypass is also better at relieving comorbidities, is what they're called. What a comorbidity is I'm obese. If you're having weight loss surgery, you're obese. You fit into the morbid obese category. But a comorbidity, and most insurance companies, at least my insurance company, said, hey, being obese isn't enough, you have to have comorbidities. Which means you have to have weight-related illnesses that go along with you being morbidly obese. Like diabetes or prediabetes, sleep apnea, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, things like that are all comorbidities. And gastric bypass lowers the amount of people who have these comorbidities post-surgery, but drastically more for some of the conditions than vertical sleeve gastrectomy does. And for me, not just do I want to lose weight, I want to be as healthy as I possibly can be. And if there is a 95% chance, and again, these are numbers I found on the internet, so grain of salt, 95% chance that I'm going to be sleep apnea free within 1 to 2 years with gastric bypass, than a 70% likelihood with vertical sleeve, then for me, I want to have that 95%. I really want to try to reduce my current or any future comorbidities as drastically as I possibly can. But again, this is just me. This is my journey. You know, make sure that you talk to your healthcare provider and your doctor and your surgeon and your insurance company and find out what's right for you. Because I think there are probably a lot of clinics that aren't even really doing gastric bypass unless for special case scenarios. So you're probably going to hear a lot more about vertical sleeve, and that's great. Vertical sleeve is a great surgery, and people have so much wonderful success with it. So there's nothing against having it. It's great. Do it. If that's what you and your doctor think is best for you, then 100% do that. But for me and my doctor, we decided that Roux-en-Y would be best for me. And there's another part of it that makes me feel more comfortable with it. In 2004, my dad also had gastric bypass surgery. At this point, I was out of the house. I was in the Army when he had it, so I really didn't get to experience it a whole lot when he actually had the surgery. But how he is now and the weight loss he's had now and how he eats now, I'm very familiar with all of that, and I've experienced that. So it kind of gives me a little familiarity with it, and I think I'm more comfortable with it for that reason too, if I'm being completely honest. Actually, I'm having the same surgeon that my dad had, which is hopefully a trend that stops with me, which is one of the reasons I'm having this surgery done now, when I'm 32 and my son is 6 years old. Because my 13-year-old daughter is going to remember me like this, but I'm hoping that we can change my son's behaviors and attitudes about food and make sure that they're good and healthy. And he's doing good so far. He's a good weight, better weight than I was at his age, more active, and we're really trying. But I don't want to be unable to play with him and go on the bouncy house for his birthday because of weight limits, because of my weight. So that's a big part of me. For me, is I want to break the cycle of weight loss surgery and being obese and being unhealthy that my family's had for generations. So I really think that me having the surgery now and making this decision and my family making this decision to make it happen now is going to be what's best for our family in the long run. So, you know, we really appreciate you guys coming out and watching our videos. If you like tonight's video or any of our other videos, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see our upcoming content, I'm having surgery in just a couple days. We're going to try and post on surgery day, depending on how I'm feeling. We're definitely going to post my first day home, and we're even hoping to try and do some kind of video about our shopping list for the first week and things like that. So please hit subscribe, and you'll get this upcoming content. And we really look forward to talking with you guys again. Thank you so much.